Like if I get a little bit of seed oils here and there, I'm not worried. My fear is a dose thing, right? Like that's my fear. Dose is always the enemy. You could overdose on water, hypernatremia, you die. So again, if people are just eating too much crap, and I think that's one way to avoid a lot of this. So if you go to Chipotle, I know they use seed oils. And you're like, oh, I'm like, dude, I don't eat out much. If I have to get a burrito, I'll be all right, but I'm not going to just have my day dictated by, I got to look for every little thing. But if there's something you eat regularly and you're getting a lot of it and it adds to that 20 to 30%, that's insane. That's madness. And this kind of brings me to this question. So a lot of people are interested in hormonal health, metabolism. In your opinion, based on the data you've seen, do you think that seed oils can have any negative impact on your hormone balance and metabolism?
I have not seen any direct, or like, I have looked into this in terms of like, what are the kind of net measurable effects of, if we're talking things like, insulin resistance is kind of tough to say. Well, I mentioned earlier that people with insulin resistance will metabolize linoleic acid differently. That doesn't necessarily apply to say that linoleic acid is directly affecting your insulin sensitivity. I think that it's probably more likely to contribute to these problems in the same way that like general oxidative stress, like if you have some of these conditions and then there's kind of um, a direction that you can go when you're eating a lot of sugars, you're eating a lot of seed oils, and you're predisposed to these issues where it's all interacting. As far as a one-to-one for like testosterone, estrogen, growth hormone, insulin, I've not seen that. I love those kinds of studies, but I also haven't seen like null results where there was a relationship that was measured and then found to not exist. So it's just like there's not enough research to really say.
Yeah, I'll also argue that, you see data correlative to essential fat intake being directly correlated to healthy hormone function. So I could probably extrapolate what you've been extrapolating, that if your ratio is off on omega-3, omega-6, saturates, I have no doubt in my mind that that can negatively impact your hormonal status. And also, if you're overeating, ultra processed, highly palatable foods, you're more likely to be overweight, obese, which we know will 100% play a role in your hormonal output. So I would say yes. I would actually go on a limb and say, based on my knowledge of how this stuff works, overconsumption of seed oils can most definitely have, albeit a minor effect on your hormones, especially testosterone, things like that.
Yeah, well, they are incorporated into like cell membranes and the cytosol. So like, I mean, these are fascinating questions. Like I would just,
Yeah.
totally like dive in, like if there was more research published on this. But one thing that's interesting is like, membrane fluidity. So like if you eat more or produce more saturated fat,